All right, so I get to talk about costume design. Costumes are kind of great. I love doing costumes. It really gives the character some extra personality through the clothing choices and through the accessories. So, where do you start? Guess what? Read the script and read the script and read the script. Because sometimes the scripts are set, it's set in a certain historical era, and then you have to really do some fashion exploration. Google becomes your best friend, figuring out what the style was, what the shape of clothing was, colors, all of that kind of thing actually fits to a specific historical era. And so what I do from there, what I personally do is I then take some ideas to the first meeting that we have with the whole team and say, these are some things that I'm thinking of. These are some colors that I'm thinking of. What are your thoughts? It's really good to talk to the set designer and the lighting designer and definitely the director, and get an idea of what their visions are. You don't want all of the costumes to clash with the set. That would be extremely horrible. And you don't want them to be the same exact color. Another thing is make sure you know how many characters you will be costuming. Sometimes the script will have the names of all the characters, but they might just be speaking part characters. The director may throw in a couple extra people here and there that don't have speaking parts, or write some speaking parts in, and you get down to about 2 weeks before the show and you're scrambling to clothe some people. That's not always the best thing to do. So make sure you know the number of characters and their needs. So the next thing that comes along that I put together is I put together a little costume plot. And I do that by going through and listing all my characters, which scenes they're in, kind of what they're doing, where they are in the play, and figuring out what type of costume changes have to happen. It's really important to note where in the scene costume changes are. Many of you know that there are quick changes, and quick changes can be everything from half a page of the script all the way to, I think we had one that I costumed that we had about 4 lines to do a costume change. So be prepared. Figure out how to dress in layers. Dress actors in layers if you can. So after putting together a little costume plot, I like to actually go and get information from the actors themselves, and get measurements and sizes and that type of thing, because then the fun starts. You get to go shopping and you get to go through costume storage, and you get to figure out how you can put your vision that's on paper onto the stage. I also sometimes ask the actors, do you have this? Do you own this? It's great if I don't have to supply it, but they can supply it for themselves. I would really say that your overall costuming design, it really reinforces the mood and the style of the production. It can distinguish major and minor characters. It can actually suggest certain relationships with characters. It also can be a way to change the appearance of the actor throughout the whole drama. And it can also suggest changes in the development of the character or even their age. I think Brenda the other night was talking about props versus set decoration. Well, you also have to consider what's costumes. Accessories are costumes. And we sometimes forget that things like canes and hats and gloves and jewelry and if the character has a mask that they is part of their costume, all of those are costuming things, and that is the job of the costume designer. It is great working with the others. If you can't find something, we work very well together. I know I've worked with Fran several times, having conversations of, well, is that a prop or is that a costume? And it's always sometimes a good challenge. We get to decide what's what. I would like to say, really pay attention to the shape and the style of the clothing. The colors and the textures are so important as well. If you have something modern day, it's pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but it's pretty quick to find costume pieces. But if it's really a historical piece, it's a lot more challenging. If you're having like a mystery, like a Sherlock Holmes, you're going to look for the heavier textures. And it's like I said, it's a lot of fun. Please consider costuming. I always love when we do the costume parade for the first time during production week, and you see all the costumes across the stage, and you really hope that no one's in the same color or that everything looks great in the lights. So again, it's a lot of fun work.
That's great, Susie. Thank you. That was awesome. Jeff, do we have any questions?
We do have a question. Is it a good idea to have the actors shop for their own costumes?
I prefer not. I know there are some costumers who that's great. A lot of times if someone says, well, I know what you want, sounds great, I'll say, text me a picture of what it is before you buy it, especially if you're in it. Because sometimes the costume designer can have the image in their head and try to explain it, but it just doesn't quite come across in words. So I'm one who likes to be in control.
Okay, we got another question here for you. What if you're not a seamstress or you can't sew? How would a costumer get by?
Well, safety pins, hot glue, and those are all your friends. I would not say that I'm a seamstress. I can fake it. Anybody who's worn costumes by me probably has safety pins somewhere. Yes, Marilee, duct tape, sure. I've used gaff tape before. Anything I could get my hands on last minute. I think I've done a hem with staples before. So.
That's real life.
Awesome. All right, I think that's all our questions there.
All right. Thank you, Susie. Nice job.